Thoughts and Friends podcast, episode 80. I believe it's the 1-year anniversary. I believe our first show was a NBA draft show of some kind. I think it was similar to what we're going to do tonight. We're going to preview the NBA draft. Episode 80, big milestone. We're doing it for about a year now. How are we feeling?
Feeling great. Feeling a little emotional. We've made it so far.
Yeah, we were almost tearing up before we hit record here. We're just
it's
the ups and downs over a year of podcasting.
Our podcasting career, it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, it really has. So we're going to talk NBA draft. We're going to talk. We both watched the new Adam Sandler movie, Hustle, on Netflix. If you want to watch that, pause, come back to. We're going to talk Hustle. I think we both enjoyed it, so that was maybe surprising. So we'll talk Hustle. It is a long show. We're going to do draft, and we both get pretty long-winded talking NBA specifically. We're going to talk that movie, but there are a few things that we're going to dive into before we hit the NBA draft. So I woke up this morning to a text from you that Brooks Koepka was defecting to the LIV Tour. Saw it this morning, and about as least surprising as anyone on the PGA Tour, in my opinion. He's been talking for 2 or 3 years how much for a guy that won 4 majors and played a lot of really good golf, how much he hated golf and didn't really enjoy playing it that much. Wish he could play it less. So to be able to do that, play less, and get more money, pretty much a no-brainer. I was not surprised that Koepka was leaving. What say you? You seemed a little more surprised.
Well, so I mean, I knew that Brooks Koepka probably doesn't really even like playing golf, like you said. But to see a name of his caliber, who is, I would say, undoubtedly one of the 10 best players on tour, probably undoubtedly one of the 5 or 6 biggest names on tour.
That's interesting that you, as more of a golf outsider, would say that, because I think that golf hardos and people that follow week to week and are pretty into it have kind of phased him out of that standing as a top 10 player. He's certainly not a top 10 player on tour right now.
Quality play, I don't know. He's certainly one of the 5 or 6 most famous golfers playing right now, I would say.
I think
especially if you count out Phil and Tiger, because they're active, but you know
what I mean. Thing. And they're
not
their own
active,
level of
really. They're semi-retired almost.
I would say he is a top 5.
Because the other thing, he's on Pardon My Take. If you listen to Pardon My Take, he's the big guy. He's big on social media. He's a very, I don't even know if I want to say likable, relatable, I guess. Love him or hate him, polarizing personality.
He's a polarizing guy.
There's a ton of golfers who have zero personality to speak of at all, and it makes him stand out that he does.
I think you're right.
He had the feud with Bryson.
That's big. I think that was really big because people. Bryson's not really that polarizing. Most people don't like him. Think he's cringe or whatever. His content is not to their liking, and he was staunch against Bryson. So he took in public, the court of public opinion, he took the right side of that and was against him for a period of time. So I think that definitely works in his favor. So yeah, it's a huge name. As far as the level of player, he's not where he has been. People forget he won 4 majors. I've been saying that to several people. People disrespect what he's done in golf because he hasn't played as well in the past 2 or 3 years. He's been very injured. He had knee surgery. I think he had surgery maybe on his wrist too. But the dude won back-to-back PGAs and back-to-back U.S. Opens.
What if I phrase it this way? Is he one of the 10 most talented golfers on tour?
Now, still probably not.
Pure ability, not even.
There's guys, there's so many good golfers, young guys that people don't know. I mean, it's just probably not still. Maybe. I think his peak, his red-lined top-end skill is probably still up there because he hits it so far. He can putt very well. And those are 2 skills that power and touch is not really.
Off the top of your head, give me your list. Morikawa, more talented, yes?
Yeah. Right now, Scheffler's more talented. Thomas is more. Thomas.
JT.
Rahm for sure. Morikawa for sure. And then you get into some younger, like Sam Burns has been playing very well. Rory's probably still more talented.
Spieth?
No, not more talented. There's other intangibles about golf and skills that he's better at, and that helps him win. But no, not more talented.
That's 6. Bryson?
No. If I had names in front of me, it would help a lot. But
you know, that's not really the point. Like for LIV, they don't, like you said, the quality of golf is not the big deal. Like they want the biggest names possible. He's one of the biggest names possible.
Right. I would say, I mean, it would be hard to argue that Will Zalatoris is not more talented and a better player than him right now. Cantlay, although he hasn't played well in majors, is probably more talented than him right now. But I said there's really a big 4, I would say. Scheffler, Thomas, and Rahm and Morikawa are probably the 4 best players on tour right now. And then there's probably a tier. There's some older guys like Rory. Cam Smith had a really strong. So there's probably 8 or 10 guys, and then you could maybe mention him after that. But yeah, as far as name goes, as far as someone you would want to see on your leaderboard if you're LIV, he's in probably the top 5, I would say. So a huge get for them. I don't know what he's getting paid. Probably similar to what Dustin got paid. But in the end, not surprising. I think this is a real problem for the PGA Tour. And it's clearly a problem because they've already changed what they're doing. They've changed their schedule already in the fall, that when most big names take time off, they're having fewer events, they're having bigger purses, and there's no cut. So they're already essentially doing what the LIV Tour is doing in a different way for their fall swing. So in the end, change is good. I think that'll benefit the better players, but we'll see how it goes. The money's not drying up. I don't know if they want to keep doing it. They have unlimited funds. I don't know what their end game is, but as long as they're still doing it, the PGA Tour is in trouble, and they're going to have to pay their guys. I mean, there's no way around it. I think they should.
Will people watch LIV like a year from now? I don't
think so.
Are people going to be watching LIV? I don't think so either.
Well, if all the best players are there, like I don't know how far this goes. Like those top 4, Rahm, JT, Rory, Scheffler, and Morikawa. I included Rory in there because he's been like at the forefront on the opposite end of this LIV stuff. Those 5, I don't think there's any chance that they leave. But anyone else, I think, is open and fair game. If they get all the rest of the names, like, yeah, you
Tiger
have those
Woods.
top. No shot. He's not going. They offered him nearly $1 billion. Seriously, they said. So I think it was Greg Norman or someone said they offered him like $850 million to do it. And he's like, I've already got that.
He's literally a billionaire.
And it's also not about that for him. He's obviously extremely rich. He wants to keep trying to win majors, and his legacy is like everything. But there's already some black eyes on that, Tiger. So I wouldn't kill you if you took the $800 million.
That'll be what does it for Tiger's moral standing with people.
Yeah,
even if it does, much like his other transgressions, give it a couple weeks and we'll fucking.
No one gives a
shit.
Like,
oh, Tiger's playing in the Masters. Woohoo! Let me get out my fucking red shirt, baby.
But if everyone leaves for this tour, and then those top 5 guys, yeah, they're still on the PGA Tour, but who are they playing against? I guess they're playing against each other, but I don't know. I don't know how far LIV wants to take it, how much money and how many players they're willing to poach, but they're off to a good start. I don't know. Obviously, it's trouble and things are changing because they immediately change. The PGA Tour is like, well, we're screwed, so we gotta make changes. We gotta appease the players. We have to give them more for doing less.
Is there a scenario where something like this could happen in a different sport, or is there something to golf that makes it unique? Because you only have to get individual players in golf, whereas you get a whole team of guys.
You could do it in tennis. You could do it the exact
individual
same thing
sports. It works. Here's the one thing for me that I think is ripe for something like this: is the UFC. because the people
Totally.
who are fighting in the UFC obviously have a lot of problems with how the UFC is run. And I think very, very justifiably so, more justifiably so than golf, probably, because 95% of those guys get paid not even close to the amount of value that they're pumping into the UFC.
100%.
And obviously it's much more dangerous, and you're risking much more to fight somebody than you are to play 18 holes of golf.
100%. I think you're exactly right, and that's a really good one. And I also think the disadvantage they would be at is that there's no, like in golf, what they're leaning on is like the history and the prestige of the game. They're leaning on the courses that they have to offer. They're leaning on the past champions that they've had, the tradition. The UFC doesn't have that. No one cares about. There's no Augusta National. There's no TPC Sawgrass. There's no.
I mean, it is.
There's like
huge, but it is such a young sport relatively. I mean, it has only
Totally.
existed since the 1990s, really.
Sure, I guess
there is no. I mean, there probably is a UFC Hall of Fame, but like I couldn't tell you who's in the UFC Hall of Fame. Like I could guess, but I don't know or care or think it matters. And with legacy and fighting, kind of similarly to golf, there's like 4 guys that matters for, that are like, actually, is he the pound for pound greatest fighter of all time? And everyone else, it's like, that guy was sick. He was fun to watch.
Trying to make a check.
It's like,
love to get paid.
It's like John Jones, Khabib, fucking some older, like, I don't know, some older guys from the earlier days, like the Chuck Liddells, Tito Ortiz, GSP, like.
And there's no, so like having your name on like for example, having your name on the U.S. Open trophy, like the trophy each year has every past champion's name on it. That's like important for people. There's like history, prestige with that. But the belts in the UFC, like, yeah, there's like a lineage of champions, but like, I don't care. I don't think anyone.
There's also like interim championships, which kind of
interim championships.
The fact that it even is a championship. An interim, just to derail this, an interim championship is one of the stupidest things in any sport. Like, how fucking stupid do you think I am that it's like, no, this is a real title fight. I promise. I promise it is. No, it is.
You should buy the pay-per-view for the interim title.
Look at this. It's a belt on the line. Neither of these guys are actually the champion, but we're going to give one of them a belt, and then 2 guys who both have belts are going to fight each other. Yeah, how fucking stupid is that?
Build the stakes, dude. Build the stakes. It's a champ against a champ. Yeah, so I think that's a very good one, because the first thing you jump to when you talk UFC and I guess problems with UFC or complaints amongst the members of is
fighter pay. Fighter pay is the number one issue.
Number one issue. So I think, I don't know, popularity wise, I mean, I love golf. I'll watch it every single day, but golf is boring. Like, UFC rips. People love UFC. I think you said it's still very young, but UFC is exciting. It's watchable. I think
the other thing with like the pay-per-view format is like, I don't have to like buy into the brand. Like, if you get John Jones to fight Francis Ngannou on your other promotion,
watch it.
I'll give you all my money to watch it. I don't give a fuck.
I'll clear a weekend for that fight.
Now that I just said that in my head, that's a real thing that someone could do, because both those guys don't really seem to want to fight in the UFC.
No, and they want to get paid. John Jones is always like, I'll pay me a lot of money and I'll fight anyone.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going
to isn't it crazy?
I'm not going to pass a piss test, but I'll fight whoever. I'll fight a lion for $5 million. Don't care either.
The fact that UFC is like, no, we're not going to pony up to have the greatest fighter of all time fight is crazy.
Anything you need to have that. Pay him $10 million a piece. I don't care.
Like, crazy.
You need to have that fight under your. You have to.
Like, some fucking billionaire should just, like, fucking Bill Gates should be like, this is the only fight we're doing. John Jones, Francis Ngannou, get your tickets.
And someone with something to gain, they could like promote something. I don't know what it would be. Like, fucking Apple promotes the fucking iPhone 15.
Go watch Avatar in theaters this July. Like,
it would be the biggest fight of all time, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Definitely biggest mixed martial arts fight. Close.
Right. Yeah, no, like, sure, Floyd or like Tyson, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like Khabib, Conor, that was a really big deal.
That was, yeah.
Other than that, I mean, that's probably
Anything.
the biggest fight. Definitely probably the biggest pay-per-view number, right, in the history of the UFC. They probably just lie about that and say the most recent thing was the biggest number. But
like on the books now, I would say probably Connor could be 2. I don't know.
they only fought once, right? Yeah,
Did
they
they?
only fought one time. Because then Habib fought Gaethje and he retired.
It felt like 2 fights.
Yeah, they only fought once, I think. Yeah, yeah, pretty sure.
I gotta look. But yeah, I think that
sure
could
they only
absolutely
fought once.
happen because, like I said, there's no like prestige and history. Like there's no, I don't know. I don't think it's possible anything else just because there's so many players on team sports and they're already paid quite well. I don't know. Maybe like WNBA, they don't get paid shit. But
I don't think anyone gives a fuck. I mean,
yeah,
they should get paid more, I guess. And like honestly, women's sports get fucked over. Like it is such a like stupid meme of a thing to say that you hate women's basketball. Like people whose entire personality, many people I know that are like, dude, I'd rather kill myself than watch women's basketball is fucking stupid. Like they're good at basketball. It's a different thing. It's like college basketball versus the NBA. It's like not that it's terrible to watch. It's just different. It's very different.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad basketball either. I think it's good. I think they're all very good.
Quite good. It's like we're not going to turn this into a women's basketball discussion, but
why not?
The skill, I mean, it requires a lot more skill to be a women's basketball player. You can't really get by on your athleticism or size. Like,
yeah, they wish they were Giannis and could just run and jump like James Harden said. We got to fucking get open.
Yeah, they're all James Harden. So if that doesn't sell you on it,
that's true. Who's the GOAT women's basketball player?
Legacy wise, probably Lisa Leslie, right? I mean, she's like the.
I don't know how. I couldn't tell you the championship counts for all these.
Well, probably Tarazi. I think she has the most titles. I think.
I would say maybe Candace Parker is like the best player ever. I don't know.
Yeah, Lisa Leslie. She's like the she kind of was the person.
She's the pioneer.
Started the WNBA basically.
What the fuck are we talking about? All right, we can move on.
All right, this is gonna be 30 minutes on Lisa Leslie's legacy. Yeah, Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi, who you got all time.
In a shocking turn of events, Kyrie wants out, or he's rumored to want out. If you're a team, if you're anyone who's rumored in on him, the Lakers, they'll trade Russ for him, obviously.
The Clippers.
I've heard the Knicks and the Clippers. Are you in? You're interested if you're them? You a fan of those teams? Do you want Kyrie?
If I'm the Lakers and I can get off Westbrook, yes.
I saw something like Kyrie and something for AD and Westbrook.
Colin Cowherd has been peddling this that he would rather have Kyrie Irving, which is one of the most asimine and stupid opinions you can have about anything regarding basketball.
Yeah, he doesn't have a clue.
And I think that is very much a very meticulously crafted take so that everyone will talk about it.
No question. He's one of the best.
He knows what he's fucking doing.
He knows what he's doing.
I struggle to call him stupid because I think he always knows what he's doing.
Of course. He's been in the game. He's been in the content game for a while. He's been in the click game for a while.
That being said, if you're AD stock, you're a little shaky hands on it. I totally get that. But to want Kyrie stock instead is silly. AD wants to play basketball. His body will not allow him. Kyrie doesn't seem to be interested in playing basketball.
Yeah, he's not a huge fan of it. But when he does, I thought in the playoffs he seemed perfectly engaged. I thought he was fine.
Well, that's the thing. If you're only going to be engaged in the playoffs, that's not going to work for the $20-30 million it's going to cost me to pay you. And you saw, like, he was engaged, and the Nets got fucking swept because you need chemistry. You need to play together for the whole season. Like, it's just not going to work. There's no disputing the talent of Kyrie Irving. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. Does Kyrie Irving on your team, in theory, make you a better team? Absolutely. That's true of every team in the NBA, basically, because he's that good.
I think if I'm the Knicks, I don't want any part of it.
No.
If
No,
I'm the
you've
Knicks, I don't
built
want.
up some sort of like kind of foundation of like
If
a
I'm the
winning
Clippers,
culture.
if I'm the
And
Clippers, I do it. If I'm the Lakers and I can get off of Russ and not trade AD somehow, I don't know what that would even look like. If Kyrie says I'm just leaving anyways, and they're just like we just want to get something, like maybe that could work for Russ for Kyrie, and then obviously Russ plus some stuff. I don't know what that stuff would be. I would do that, but the Knicks, I think I would stay away. I think I would. I don't think
yeah,
that's the answer.
absolutely. If you are, the only scenario I'm thinking is if you're in total panic mode and the NBA and professional sports in general is windows and the windows are smaller than we ever imagined they are. And you're like the Lakers, this is their window. They have not a lot of time. They got to get
2
this thing
years?
fucking going. And that's why they traded for Russ. And that's why we didn't totally kill that move whenever they did it. They got to go now. And
Yeah.
if you get the best case scenario of those three, you're going to be fucking unstoppable.
Yeah. And I think the prior relationship, him and LeBron, do you know where that stands? I feel like it was Kyrie wanted his own thing when he came back, and then they kind of got over that, and they're kind of back in okay
I
terms.
think they're fine, probably, it seems. And
Yeah.
I think I don't give a shit. Like if they're all rowing the same direction, if they don't like each other and they're both like locked in and want to win, I don't think it matters really.
Yeah, it's so easy to make the fucking playoffs, but they missed the playoffs last year. Like,
yeah, missed the play in. We're
like,
not one of the 10 top teams in their conference.
You would think even if Kyrie played like half a regular season, I mean, you're banking on a lot of health from a couple, like a really old guy and a extremely injured guy. You got to make the playoffs. I mean, I don't know if he's so intoxicating, so talented though. Honestly, the Knicks, if they could like bank on him being engaged and playing,
but
they can't. I know they can't.
You absolutely can't.
He's the perfect like fit for what they need. Like,
yeah, but
their stagnant, shitty offense.
You can't bank on that.
You can't take that chance though.
Can't bank on it at all.
No.
I mean, it's the other thing is like he feels like he's young still. He's 30 years old now. To think that he is now going to change his ways and grow and mature is probably not the case. Maybe it is.
No.
And he would probably argue that he has grown and matured, I guess. But I don't know, man. I would not touch it.
I would do it if I was the Clippers. I think they have a smaller window than you might realize. I don't know how long Kawhi has of being a top tier player. If he can come back and be healthy, I think he would be fine. With those guys,
I don't even know what the package to get him looks like. Really,
I don't either.
Here's the other thing: it's like if you're the Nets, I don't want to resign you, but Kevin, you're an asset. I don't want you to walk for nothing. So they do need to get something back for him.
Well, the assumption is Kevin Durant wants to re-sign him. And if that's the case, then that's in a really tough spot because they're either going to lose him for nothing or sign him to a deal that they're going to really, really regret. They could trade him for like Reggie Jackson and like a pick or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw like Reggie Jackson, Norm Powell, and a pick or something, which like for the Nets, I guess, but and I know we just talked about this Kyrie thing. Reggie Jackson, Norm Powell, and KD is not getting you to the finals as good as KD is.
And James Harden, dude. No, he's
not on the team anymore.
And Ben Simmons, dude. That's what I meant. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's probably a pass for me. I get it. The good is really good. I get it.
Yeah, the good for the Clippers, like if you have that three, it's obviously very scary. When's the last time any of those three guys was the best version of themselves? It's been 3-4 years for any of them.
Paul George is very good recently.
But again, how many games a year does he miss? He misses 30 games a year every year. Basically can lock it in.
Like dislocated his elbow, so not great.
So
yeah. It's probably a pass, you know. I bet he just picks up his option and plays another year in Brooklyn, if I had to guess.
Yeah. It seems very much like a Kyrie camp play here, that this is even a story. It seems like that's kind of his whole deal, is that
I would agree.
He's going to keep his name in the news as much as he hates how the media treats him. It seems like there's a lot of stories that get leaked about Kyrie Irving somehow at the same time.
Yeah.
Wonder where those could all be coming from.
I don't know. Anonymous story, anonymous leaks. Let's talk NBA draft. That's enough on Kyrie. That's enough golf.
Speaking of intoxicating talents.
We have become a bit of a golf podcast. That's enough golf. That's enough Kyrie. Let's talk NBA draft. I think there's a consensus top 3. We have the Orlando Magic, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Houston Rockets. I almost just said the Houston Texans. Pick 1, 2, 3. I think there's a consensus top 3. Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and Paolo Banchero.
That is correct. I think I've seen some people with a 4-person tier 1 with Jaden Ivey included in there. Some people are very high on him.
I would disagree with that, but I understand.
But I'm just saying I have seen a lot of people that do feel that way.
Yeah, I believe those top 3 is who will go in the top 3, and I've seen a lot of order on that top 3. So I don't know where you want to start. You can pick any player, pick any team. You can talk fit. You can talk your opinion of the player. Start with the big 3 of this NBA draft.
I mean, I think we can kind of almost just mock draft this whole thing, and that will serve twofold in both discussing all the players and discussing the teams and the fits. And keep this thing moving down the road. So, Orlando. I think they're one of the better teams that's had the number 1 pick in a while. In terms, like, obviously they didn't win a lot of games, but we talked about we like their roster. We think they have a lot of B- players. They need to hit on one of these guys that can be their all-star player. For me, I have watched a lot of tape and a lot of film, and I've gone back and forth a decent amount, and I think I've landed. Go ahead.
Right now, Jabari is a pretty heavy favorite to go first, correct?
Was he like minus 170 or minus 180, or is he more than that?
I'll double check. But
because I think it's gone the other way. Like in the last few days, Chet has like picked up a lot of steam to go number 1. It was like he was like minus 300. Now I think he's like minus 150.
I was thinking of the minus 300. He had been a much bigger favorite.
But yeah, Chet is picking up a lot of steam.
Breaking down film over the past week or so, do you agree with the initial minus 300 or do you lean Chet? Because I think those are the 2 options. I don't think Paolo is in play for 1. I could be wrong, but I think those are the 2 options.
Yeah, he could be in play. I haven't heard, seen. I wouldn't. I think I almost, for me, would have a top 2 in a tier, and I've considered putting Paolo in the tier 2. I think he's better than the guys I have in tier 2, though, and I do think he has like all NBA star potential that I am not as sure will come to fruition as a lot of people seem to. I think based on the skill set and based on the upside, I would kick myself passing on Chet. I think Chet is a once-in-a-generational defensive prospect. He is as good a shot blocking prospect as you'll ever see. He can guard on the perimeter. He has fluid hips, quick feet, and very promising shooting touch, can handle the ball. He's 7 feet whatever, arms that go forever. And his body, him not being strong, is zero thought to it. I do not care about that at all. Couldn't care about it less. I think more than anything, when guys have bodies like that, they will always inevitably get stronger, no matter what. If you're on an NBA team and you have a good work ethic, which I've never heard anyone say Chet doesn't have a good head on his shoulders and doesn't work as hard as anyone in the draft, you will get stronger. The problem comes is if you're soft. And Chet is skinny and not strong, but is not soft. He plays very hard. He fights. He's kind of a motherfucker on both ends, like really mixes it up.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a difference between being slight and having a small frame and being thin and having a low weight than being soft. There is a big difference in that. And also, it would have been a lot bigger problem in like 1995.
He's going to shoot threes. He's going to handle the ball. And I mean, how many big burly centers are going to punish him inside? And, you know, how many of those guys are going to get exposed having to guard him on the other end? Like, his unique skill set and all the stuff that he could possibly do, I would feel bad passing on him if it hits, because he, to me, by far is the highest upside in this class.
Check this out. Player to be drafted first overall. The favorite right now, Jabari Smith, minus 235. The second favorite, plus 195, Paolo Banchero. Chet Holmgren, plus 420 to go first overall.
So
I haven't seen that yet.
No, it seems like he is not going to go number one. I think if I'm mock drafting this based on what I think will happen, I think Jabari will go number one. And I think that will be a good pick. I think it's the safest pick at number one. I think I know what Jabari is going to be. He's going to be a very high-level shooter. He's going to work extremely hard. He's going to be a really smart player. He's going to be a very good perimeter defender. He's 6'10". All those things, very good things. I rated these guys on like a boom bust as on part of my work, and I have him as one of the highest. Like, would be shocked if he's not a high-level starter in the NBA. Would be very, very surprising to me.
Yeah, I think considering the team, I would also mock number one. I would mock Jabari there too. But if I was the Magic myself, considering the rest of the roster, you said, and we talked about on the last show, how there's a lot of B-type players, a lot of nice. If there was a guy there, if there was a top 10 player there, that there's a lot of guys on the roster right now that you'd be like, oh, good piece to a championship contender, to a top 4 seed in the East. And I don't think Jabari can be that guy that is a top whatever, an all-NBA guy, and a top 8 player that's going to take you over the finish line to be a contender in the East. And I think the upside of Chet is that if more of his offensive game is unlocked. Because Drew Timme was the number one option on offense at Gonzaga. There was times where Chet was
the system he
back.
was in it did not allow him to flourish offensively.
It didn't showcase. I watched close. I remember watching 2 years ago him play Emoni Bates in high school and watch another game. And obviously he's the guy on his high school team. And he showed much more offensive upside. Yeah, the offensive upside, ball handling, and what he could do was showcased much more in that setting rather than having to play with another big who had offensive limitations that they ran the offense through. So I think the upside there is there. The upside for Chet is there on offense, and then obviously the defensive, the shot blocking, and the movement is elite.
His basketball IQ, the more I watch him, I'm not fucking with you when I say I don't feel like I saw him make a single mistake on either end, like a bad defensive read, get caught up in the air,
good timing, good instincts,
really bad turnover. His ability to switch hands, and he always jumps at the right time. He makes some rotations on defense that are NBA level already. He's a good passer. He's got a good handle for his size. I think he kind of gets some shit because I think people think he's Kevin Durant, and that's not what he is. He's a big man. He's not a forward. He's not a wing. I think people were viewing him as, if you view him as a wing, he's not there. He's a big. He's a 5 or a 4. And in that scenario, we look at the 4 teams that made it to the conference. Well, no. We looked at 3 of the 4 teams that made it to the conference finals. They all have a incredibly switchable big man that can defend in space and can protect the rim. That is, other than having a top 10, Curry, LeBron, Giannis, whatever, that is the second most important thing to being a super successful NBA team in my mind. And that's him. And on top of that, which none of those 3 guys can do, he can stretch the floor to 3. So
I agree. I would take Chet as well. I'm actually pretty stunned that Paolo has passed him in odds to be first overall pick. don't understand that. But
I don't think that necessarily means that Chet won't go 2 based on those odds. I
right,
think
no,
that
I
means
agree.
they're
Yeah,
like locked into taking a wing player, and maybe they haven't
no,
decided.
he's minus 230 to be drafted second, Chet. So
Oh my God. I mean, Sam Presti will come in his britches if he gets Chet. Talk about the
it
most
looks like he's going
perfect
to.
player for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've built this weird misfit toys team that every guy on the court can dribble. They all are taught to just grab it and take off. To finally get a center that is not Isaiah Roby and Jeremiah Robinson Earl to like execute his vision. And then we get like the buddy cop comedy of him and Poku every night is gonna
Pretty
be
good.
awesome. I mean, him running pick and roll with Giddey and Shea will be fucking incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, if he's awesome, if he's like a top 15, 20 player, the Thunder got something there. We
Yeah.
both like both of those guards. Add him there. Add like some wing 3-and-D guys. You already got the what's his name with the good defender with all the hair flying. I can't think of his name. Lou Dort. You got something cooking.
One thing, they are like the worst 3-point shooting team and like one of the worst 3-point shooting teams like in modern NBA history.
Yeah, that's true.
They like Jabari Smith would also be a good fit. Jabari Smith would be a good fit on every team in the NBA because he is going to guard and he's going to hit shots. And we'll talk about him now because I think he's the second best prospect. And if he doesn't go 1, I would imagine that would be who OKC would take. We're going to do this mock draft based on what we would do and not what we think will happen, I think is the better way to do this. And I would take Jabari second. What do you think of Jabari?
I think that for most of this, I thought he would be before the lottery. I thought should have been the number 1 pick. I thought the players around him at Auburn really held him back. Those guards did a very poor job getting them ball, but he was still able to showcase the two-way type of talent that is going to be, like you said, an incredibly high floor. Would just be stunned if he's not like a 10-year player. I think he's going to be very, very solid. 6'10", moves well, can shoot, can defend. We're going to talk about some players that we think would be good fits on like championship teams very soon. I think his archetype is that type of player. The NBA is length that is switchable and getting buckets in the end, and he can do that as good as anyone. So
I don't
awesome
feel
player.
that his defense gets enough credit. He's an awesome perimeter defender, like
6'10",
really
long,
good.
yeah, can move, yeah.
Fucking SEC. I watched this tape as the most talented conference in the country this year in terms of like NBA level talent. He guarded all the best guys, put them in hell. Competitive as fuck. Speaking of guys whose system didn't do him any favors, he got the system anytime he touched it, he was allowed to shoot it, and rightfully so. The guards that he had to play with that were supposed to be getting him the ball, holy fucking shit, were they bad.
You would think they think they should go number 2 in this draft.
A lot of like, hey, Jabari, go stand in the corner, clear out. I got this shit. Sir, please, for the love of God, no, you do not. I feel like a lot of people are shitting on him in the Miami game they lost that he like faded. I don't think that was his fault. I think those guards were like, nah, I got to take this shit over. I got to bring us back. Crazy. Disgusting. Some possessions you watch, you'd be like, he won't touch the ball and they'll just dribble the air out of it. And it makes you want to break your computer.
Yeah. I think oddly, I like the fit better because we both think Jabari's going 1 and Chet's going 2. I like the fit better switched because I like his offensive ability and shot making on the Thunder. I think that's something that they're lacking, as you mentioned. I like the fit better flipped.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I think they're just both good. They're just both such good fits on any team, I feel.
They're both good.
Yeah, they both need a lot of stuff.
Do you think Paolo fits on the Rockets? I think that seems to be the chalk. He's also a big favorite to go 3rd.
What the fuck is happening?
Did you screw something up? I don't know what Houston's up to. They traded their big man, who seems like he has character problems. He's hasn't really
I don't
stuck
know.
anywhere he's been. I don't know what their plan is. I think they just take best available because Ivy doesn't really fit what they're trying to do. They have two guards that they seem to like. I think wing with upside would be the move here. It seems like he's a pretty strong favorite to go 3.
Yeah. So, man, I've waffled a lot on Paolo because a lot of people who I really respect and whose opinions I'm very high on really like him and are like, he's the best player in this class. And there are stretches where I watch him and I would agree and I get it. His handle and like footwork and feel and like all that stuff at his size, and he's legitimately like 6'11", 250 pounds, moves like a much smaller man. I think he moves so well that I just assumed he wasn't that big. He moves incredibly well for that size. He has like probably the most advanced arsenal of like scoring moves of any of these three guys. Like Jabari hits some like ridiculously tough shots, but it's all kind of
there's like contested
1-2 dribbles, contested
over
shot,
guys.
turnarounds. Whereas like Paolo has like a whole bag of stuff to go to on top of his size. He's a very good passer, like can kind of run your offense as like a secondary initiator. The things that separate him, I think people are more sure that he's going to be a good shooter, and I'm not as sure. I think shooting off the dribble from 3 is not going to be as good as people say. I think his shot is like a little stiff and a little slow, which I don't love. I that's the thing, like the shot, and he's definitely the worst defender of these 3 guys also, I would say. Not that he's a bad defender, but you know, he just kind of falls asleep from time to time, fades in and out on defense. And it's true of all 3 of these guys, and especially of Duke players and any like blue blood program. Like the system is not going to do you favors in terms of you getting your offensive shine, because that's just not how it works in college basketball. You don't get a lot of ISO opportunities. It's motion offense. You're playing within a system. And he did a really good job of that. I think in terms of playing in a system, and obviously Duke's probably the best system you can play in, really, but he fits his role. I don't want to sound like I don't like Paolo as a prospect, but I just think there's a separation between the other 2 and him for me.
I think that's fair. I think the way he does have sneaky, he's sneaky very big for the way he moves. I think that will translate well to the NBA. Very positionless, switchable, big body with mobility. My biggest gripe with him, and I said it throughout the year, that he just didn't, and it's so much Duke and how they operate. He just wasn't assertive enough, wasn't as aggressive with his offensive game. In some spots he did in the tournament, I think he started to kind of blossom a bit into his offensive game. I thought that came along better, but I get that Duke does not really showcase a player in a way that
I too had those thoughts, and then that tournament run kind of put that to rest, that he does
better.
have like that alpha, like he kind of took over a lot of those games. He would just take the ball to the rim, finish through guys. Like when they needed a bucket, he would get them a bucket.
Who did they play? Maybe like Elite A. Where were they eliminated in the Final Four? Did they play like Arkansas or Alabama?
Yeah, Arkansas. They played in the Elite 8.
Maybe it was that game where
he had a great game.
Yeah, he had a great game that I was really impressed with. I think he's going to be fine. I think it's a good fit. I think they need a wing type of player that can do what he does. I think it's a pretty solid fit for Houston. Houston is in the business of acquiring talent with high upside. I think they go with Paolo. I think that is pretty set in stone, those 3 players. You mentioned Ivy could jump up in there, but I think 4 is the big pivot point of this draft. If I had to,
draft starts with the Kings, baby.
And there's been a lot of talk that they could trade the pick, which makes a lot of sense because Ivy seems to be the next best player, and he does not fit whatsoever with the Kings' current roster. He does not fit next to Davion Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox. There are a few teams the Knicks are in play to trade up to 4 to take Ivy. There were a couple other. Do you have any lean on who does that? It seems like it's pretty likely to happen at this point.
I don't have a lean really. Teams I've heard would be the Knicks, the Pacers, the Hawks. The Hawks I've heard are trading everybody for everything. They're more
they've been
in
very
like
rumored.
the Rudy Gobert hunt. I've heard their name brought up a lot there. I've heard a lot of like John Collins is going to get traded. I don't know if they would trade up to 4. Yeah, not sure. I think it's a little silly. I think a lot of teams should trade up to 4. I, like you, who watched a lot of Big Ten basketball this year, I think kind of wasn't as high on Ivy as everybody. And the more I watched him and the more tape I watched him, like he's good enough and special enough that at this pick with the people that are behind him, you cannot pass on him.
Yeah, I think the upside makes too much sense. I will say, though, we did watch a lot of him, and in the tournament, he kind of shrinked. He did not play well in big moments, in big spots. He did hit a lot of big shots during the season, and his first step is, I don't say this often, truly unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, the guy has just got crazy burst.
He's probably day one, as soon as he's in the NBA, will be the fastest player with the ball in the league. He is that
It's wild.
fast. He is that freaky of an athlete. He is
Wild.
One of one, unlike anything like prime John Wall, prime De'Aaron Fox, like whoever you want to put him up, prime Iverson, whoever. He's that type of quick, that type of athletic, and vertically athletic too. Usually you're not both. He is like
crazy
Russell
athlete.
Westbrook, whoever you want to put in there.
He was I'm concerned about the shot a bit. He was a pretty bad shooter his freshman year, improved pretty significantly his sophomore year. But in big spots, the shot failed him. And, I mean, if he could shoot like 38, 40% from 3, he would just be the number 1 pick maybe because he's just a crazy athlete. And I don't know. I think the upside is crazy high. I think he does have the potential to be the best player in this draft, but I do see a way it fails.
Sure. Yeah. I think his talent level is up there with those other 3. He is much more raw and unrefined than those first 3 guys are. I have questions about his role because without the ball in his hand, I don't foresee him being like an elite shooter.
No, me either.
He obviously has the tools to be a great defender, but was not like a super elite defender. Part of that is he had like the highest usage rate in the country. So to expect him to be totally locked in on defense at all times and, you know, on offense carry that much load is, you know, asking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this about all 3 of these guys, but he may be the most egregious case of a coach not utilizing him properly. Playing Zach Edey and him instead of Travion Williams, having the lane clogged, like it's like driving a Ferrari on a fucking side street. It's not opening up the lane. And you have one of the best big men in the country coming off the bench who could do just that, who could spread the floor, who could initiate offense, and letting him just drive into a wide open paint. That's the other thing is I think him playing at the NBA level is going to look a lot different than what he was allowed to do and did in college. Like with an open spacing, he's going to get to the rim at fucking will.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his game fits the NBA much better than it does the college, especially the way he was utilized. Matt Painter, great coach. We all know that. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with the jump shot, and the role concerns are fair.
I think his overall skill really does bother me, though. Like his mid-range game, like his in-between off the pick and roll, like your little snaking around screens and stuff that you have to be able to do as a lead guard. He does not have that. Like his mid-range, his floater is like not great. He kind of plays out of control sometimes. Like I'm saying, like the raw talent is undeniable. He has a skill that is like none of these other guys behind him have, and none of them can ever develop. So you don't want to miss out on that. But I agree with you that I do see a scenario where this doesn't work, and we have this athletic guy who is this incredible athlete, and we're like, I don't really know what to do with him.
Especially if he somehow does end up on the Kings, I'm probably just out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if there's one team that'll fuck him up, it'll be that team.
So I don't know who, if you want to mock, you just want to keep it the Kings. I don't think the Kings take him.
If they keep this pick, I've heard that.
I think I would, if they keep this pick, I would say, I suppose Shaden Sharp is in play and Keegan Murray would be in play.
I think Keegan Murray would probably, if the Kings are going to keep this player, Keegan Murray would be who they would take.
I would agree.
Let's we talked about Ivy all that time. We'll just say he goes 4. We won't even really worry about who's picking 4. I think he will go 4th in the draft, whoever's picking there probably.
Yeah.
5th in the draft.
5th is who picks 5th? Detroit. I think
Pistons.
This is a complete wild card. I have no clue who's going 5th.
I think Ivy would be an awesome fit with Cade. I would love those two together. I think their skill set would, if he could fall to 5, that would be a backcourt that I would be very excited about if I was a Pistons fan.
You think Cade would play more off the ball, play like a 2 type of thing? Because we talked about how Ivy off the ball would not.
Yeah, I think so. I think Cade's spot up shooting was a big thing coming out that like put him above Green and Mobley. I think him playing off the ball would be good. And I think like Ivy's lack of, polish is made up for by Cade's ability to play make. Like some of these teams, if Ivy's asked to like in the waning seconds be the guy with the ball in his hands, I don't know how much I love that all the time. It would be like, I don't want to compare him to these two, but like a KD and Russ kind of fit. Like Ivy can do all his Russ stuff, which is you're going to get us like 14 points here and there that we weren't going to be able to get just based on your sure athleticism. But when the clock's winding down, we also have a guy that's a legit killer bucket getter type.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. That would be a great fit. But if he doesn't make it there, which we don't think he will, I don't know what they do. I don't know. What is Detroit thinking at 5?
Yeah. I think they would like. I think a big would make sense for them. Another thing I've heard them. Well, I don't know how real that is. Them maybe trading up to try and get Chet. I think Chet would be a perfect fit for them. I think if they had fallen in that range, Chet is exactly what they would need. But man, yeah, this pick, I don't really know what they should do, what they will do.
What do they need? They need a big. They have the guy.
They've got Isaiah Stewart. I'm never been a big fan of him. I think he's fine. I think he's not a good.
Like he's like a good like energy big.
Yes,
like backup big.
I think he's a backup center on a good team.
Yeah.
They probably need another scoring option. They probably need some 3-point shooting.
What do you think about Mathurin here? I really like Ben Mathurin.
I like Mathurin too, and I think that's a good pick for them, and it's a good fit. I was not as high on him as I thought I was going to be. I thought he had a little more shot creation stuff that I don't think he has. I do think he's an elite shooter. I think he's an elite athlete. And he's only 19 years old as a sophomore, which I didn't realize either. Why do you like Mathurin so much?
I think he does all the stuff offensively. He was their leader there at Arizona. I think he profiles well as a guy. You mentioned his athleticism that can be a good defender in the NBA. It is a lot of in theory type of stuff, and you don't know what kind of guy he is, like makeup as far as mentally, if he's willing to do that type of stuff. But athleticism, body-wise, you would think he would translate, and anyone that can offensively create what he can, knock down shots, and offer that upside on the other end, I think is what is enticing to me about him.
I think I was a little disappointed in his lack of ISO scoring, but to expect a lot of good ISO scorers that are also good shooters, good defenders. 19-year-old who was first-team All-American is very impressive and should not be understated. was, without a doubt the best player on what for most of the year was the best team in the country. Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's a good fit on any team. I would be surprised if he's not a really good NBA player. I think he projects as a really good shooter. I think he's a smart offensive player, plays very well without the ball, which helps playing with Cade. I think it's a solid, safe pick.
So they have Stewart, they have Bagley now. Who else do they have in the front court?
They have
Anyone
Kelly
else of
Olynyk
note?
still.
They have Olynyk. They have who's like the three?
Trey
the guy
Lyles.
Who's the guy they paid that plays?
Jeremy Grant.
The 3 or 4 Grant. They have
who
him.
Seems like he'll probably get traded. Sadiq Bey.
Yeah. Sadiq Bey. What do you think about Keegan Murray there? Would he fit better with the Pistons?
I was gonna get to this. Like, Keegan Murray had my highest boom rating versus bust. I do not think Keegan Murray can be a superstar, but I see almost no scenario where he is not like a winning player. Like, when I was watching this film and I was watching the finals, I was like, Keegan Murray is exactly what both these teams need. He is 6'9", smooth athlete, really good shooter, really good defender, works really hard on defense. Like, as a third option, can kind of create his own shot, like punishes mismatches, super high motor. Like, I love Keegan Murray watching this tape.
Feels like just a kind of cliche, just like a winner, just like a good feel type of player. Just knows, just a good basketball player, And we watched him a lot. We watched a lot of Big Ten, and he just every single night you're like, oh, he's got 29 points,
1.5 steals, 2 blocks a game, shot. Let's see, what did he shoot from 3? Shot 40% from 3. He's 6'8", 7-foot wingspan. Like, what? I mean, he just checks so many boxes.
I guess he's what?
He's 22, I guess, would be the downside.
What's his down?
So he was like a really late bloomer. It's like unprecedented to see a guy that was literally unranked coming out of high school to be a top 10 pick 2 years later is pretty crazy.
Why is it just because he's older and not really on the?
So he doesn't have the upside to be like an all-star player. Like, he'll never be a shot creator at the next level. He'll never be a number one option. I think with those first 4 guys, they absolutely could be the number one option on an NBA team. Keegan Murray, I don't think could ever be that. But like, his baseline is so high, but his high-end best case scenario is not as high as some of these guys, I think.
Okay. I think he makes a lot of sense there. I think
like my comps for him are, and I think role-wise this also fits, like Jeremy Grant, Keldon Johnson, Kyle Kuzma, Thaddeus Young, Otto Porter. Like, that's
I like
the type of player.
Johnson comp.
Keldon Johnson, I think, is a great comp for him.
I like that comp a lot.
Him and Kuzma, I think that's a good comp, both of those guys.
Okay. Who do you want to go with, Mathurin or Keegan Murray at 5?
We'll say Mathurin there because I think I would like to see him on the Pacers at 6. Keegan Murray on the Pacers, I think, makes a lot of sense. I think what they're trying to do makes a lot of sense. It seems like every trade rumor I've ever seen, Malcolm Brogdon is getting traded somewhere, so it seems like they want out on him. I would agree that they should do that. They should get Young and blow it up. He also just doesn't play enough games to constitute keeping him on our team. I think like they don't have their star guy that they need yet, but building your team around Halliburton and him, you just have like winning guys,
players.
I can close my eyes and see them contributing in playoff teams in a big way.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. They have a pretty large hole at the 4 spot. I can't see. Miles Turner's been rumored to be traded for like 3 years, so I think adding a player in the front court, I think that could
Murray slots in very nicely there.
Makes a lot of sense. Portland is a complete wasteland. They stink. They suck so bad.
But at the same time, they're like trying to win and make the playoffs.
The reason
they were a wasteland is all their players were hurt last year. So that's
true.
Excuse it a little bit.
They were trying to be a wasteland at one point.
Yeah, Damian Lillard was out. All their guys were out. Like, they're trying to win. Like, if they're not trading Dame, you're trying to win. You're not trying. Dame's not going to rebuild. That's not what they're going to do. He's been very instrumental with all the moves they're making from what I've seen. Like, he's LeBron GM and all this shit up. So whatever they do with this pick, again, I think is very ripe for a trade here. If you're Portland,
Okay. Do you think they have their eye on any certain player? Possibly a win. I think maybe Keegan Murray, an older guy that
would
can
be a good fit.
blend into a team very well. That's trying to win now could be a good fit. Obviously, he's gone in this, but assuming that they're trying to win, I don't know where they lean here.
So there's a couple of guys.
Johnny
That
Davis, it may be a
makes
little early.
sense.
I don't like him, but it's a little early for him. I don't
It
know.
is, but it's not that early. Like I watched Johnny Davis, and I was with you that like I kind of didn't get it, and then I watched his tape, and has a very strong case to be the best guard defender in this whole class. Like really, really high level guarding guys. Like, and we talked about all these other star players. They're like, they have this huge role in offense and they're like, don't have the motor on defense. He had the same usage as these guys and was locking up a fucking bulldog on the other end. So that's like the big thing. And then you do get some shot creation. I'm not as high on his shot creation scoring as some people. I think he does have, like a good feel as a scorer, which like Ivy, I don't feel like does have. A lot of these guys don't have a good feels. Like he kind of, snakes pick and rolls, has a good mid-range game. 3-point shot's a little inconsistent, but it's not like his shot looks broken by any means.
A lot of damage at the free throw line. Kind of
gets to the free throw line.
Body
like,
control.
His best case scenario for me is like Drew Holiday, which is, high praise. But like offensive game, that would be like his peak as an offensive player, I think.
Okay.
Which is like, kind of using your size, crafty sort of thing. Again, I think 7 is a little high for him. And but
I think it fits if they are trying to win now, like those type of guys are hard to find and they fit. They're winning players.
I think it's so hard. I would fucking hate to be a GM. God damn, this would be tough. Like, they're going to try to win, but fuck, this team sucks.
They have Lillard. They have the centers, hopefully healthy.
And Josh Hart. And all their other players are bad.
I think he's nice. I think Josh Hart's a nice player, but...
Yeah, but if he's your third best player, not nice. Or, no, probably your second best player, not as nice.
Yeah, I think they should trade Dame. I don't think they should try to win, but...
I guess Anthony Simons is good.
Simons is there, too.
He's pretty good.
So I think
they're not going to... I don't think
the player next to those two guys that has a defensive motor could be a good fit. Because those guys are not trying to guard anybody.
Not Johnny Davis, because I forgot about Simons. Like, Davis, not as much minutes for him.
In my mind, he's bigger than what you're describing.
Johnny Davis is, let's see, what do I have? What did he get listed at the combine? Let's see.
In my head, he's like 6'7", 6'8", 6.
No, he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's 6'5", 6'8" wingspan. So like a shooting guard.
Yeah, I thought he was more like a
spot point guard. Okay. I would classify him as a guard and not a wing. Really competitive, like him. Here's who I think they should take. I think they should trade this pick if they're trying to win. I think Jeremy Sohan from Baylor makes sense here because they need defense. There's a very strong case overall as a defender outside of Chet that Sohan is the best defender in this class. Like, him on the perimeter is scary business at 6'10", guarding like Caleb Love, fucking small, quick point guards and absorbing them on the perimeter. Like really, really freaky stuff as a perimeter defender at his size.
Yeah, a lot of question marks elsewhere, I would say, but when you...
Shot is never going to be more than a spot-up shooter by my
especially if you're trying to win and you're looking at this roster, we got guys taking shots.
Again, like elite feel for his age on defense, like rotations, seems to always be in the right spot, like crazy, crazy high motor. Like, doesn't seem like he ever gets tired. Opponents shot 6 of 24 on him in ISO situations when he was guarding them.
He has the feel to me of a guy. I mean, he's going to go much higher because I think
I think he's mocked most of these times to go top 10. So I think 7 is not out of the range. I think 7's like after Murray and Matherin go, and even maybe they won't go, but like,
what comps do you have for him? Because this guy went in the second round. Sohan's going to go obviously much higher, but a guy from last year that has huge defensive abilities, Herb Jones.
I have him as well, and the big difference there is Herb Jones was 22 years old, and Jeremy Sohan is like 18 or 19. I thought in the draft last year that Herb Jones was sick and should have gone higher. I think Sohan shows like some really, really good passing and like ball handling stuff that gives him like some Draymond Green type of feel on offense that makes up for his like lack of like, he's not going to be a shot creator. He's not going to be more than the standstill shooter.
Yeah.
The other thing that separates him, like he is a good like lob threat finisher, not as good of a vertical athlete as I thought he would be, like as explosive getting off the ground as I thought he would be. Like Kyle Anderson's even kind of a good comp a little because he can like run point at a tall size and be a really good perimeter defender. Like Ben Simmons isn't that crazy of a comp for me, honestly, especially the way he defends on the perimeter. So
I like him a lot. Yeah, I'm higher than mid-teens on him. I think I've seen him a lot of mid-teens or early teens. I think top 10 is for sure in play.
I have him 9th on my big board. I think he would be a good fit.
I like him a lot.
They need switchable post interior players.
I think the next team, I'm so high on New Orleans next year. If they could add Sohan too, just no points for anyone. No points.
2 players that I want New Orleans to pick between, I think. One is safer and one is a swing. I think New Orleans obviously has a solid team. Like if they picked nobody, added no players, you add Zion, they have a good team next year. So for me, you fucking close your eyes, dip your shoulder, and you swing on Shaedon Sharpe. And if he hits, you're a finals team. If he hits his ceiling and he is what he could be, you're in there. You have 3-4 star caliber players.
I think people would. I've heard people say he's in play as high as 5. I mean, he could go
4th. Like he could
4th or 5th. Yeah,
he could go 4th. He could fall to like 14th. I don't know. He's one of the most mysterious guys we've ever seen. We haven't seen him play 5-on-5 in like 2 years.
0 at the college level.
Went from unknown high school prospect to number 1 player in the country in like an off season in like a summer circuit. He was playing in Canada. We saw like and then he came and he played at like 2 different prep schools. Wes, I'm telling you, when I watch this fucking tape,
I think he's intoxicating.
Oh, buddy. First off, the size, 6, like legit 6'6", strong frame. Like if you were going to draw up a shooting guard in a lab, you would make this guy. Like if you're creating your shooting guard in 2K, you make Shaedon Sharpe in terms of his body size. The ball handling is great. He has like elite, like separation, shot creation, gets to his spots, like some crazy feel as a scorer that is like not common at all at the head age. And on top of that, could argue like, is in the discussion with Ivy for most insane athletes in the whole class. Although I think Ivy's athleticism is like more practical, whereas I don't think that Sharpe is like super quick and twitchy. His like vertical athleticism and his bounce is like super crazy, but I don't really know that he uses it that much in how he actually plays, if that makes sense.
So basically, the downside is just unknown. Really, I mean,
Unknown, like literally, could not be more disinterested in playing defense. Like,
that's tough.
but the other thing, all the tape is like AAU and like these high school teams that are basically glorified AAU. That it's just 5 guys that are just trying to put up good tape for college. So it's so hard to even take anything in terms of like mental aspect of being a basketball player. It's hard. Granted, like you would just want him to want to play defense anyway, regardless of the situation. But like he is all the finishing inside. He shows like some really, really deep range. Like some of the athletic plays he makes, like on lobs and dunks and block shots. He has this one in a high school game where he blocks a shot. I swear to God, it looks like his armpit's at the rim. It's unbelievable how quick and how high he gets up. Oh, man. It's nuts.
I agree.
But yeah, it's just
intoxicating. Good stuff.
But at the same time, like just could be a total zero. Like could be J.R. Smith very easily. And J.R. Smith's fine, but so my comps, I have Brad Beal, I have Devin Booker, I have J.R. Smith, I have Anthony Edwards. Like, could be Anthony Edwards, could be J.R. Smith, could be Terrence Ross. Like, you know, those guys all are very good athletes and very good shot creators, but they're all very, very different quality of players.
Yeah. Wide range. I think who's the safer option for the Pelicans at that pick? You said you had a couple options, and that was the swing. What's the
this guy also swings who I really, really like. Dyson Daniels, who played
he plays for the
played for the Ignite.
Right?
He's
I don't know
from
anything
Australia.
about him.
He would be a safer pick, although still kind of a high upside pick because he is like a 6'8" wing / guard who, unlike Sharp, is a really, really, really good defender, plays really hard on both ends, really, really smart, high IQ player, really, really good passer, can like initiate offense, but not like an elite shot creator. Average like 5 assists and 2 steals a game. So that type of like really smart fits in as a nice piece, like hits the boards really hard. Like the type of guy that's like, how is he always in the right spot for this loose ball? He's always in the right spot in this rotation. He's not an elite athlete. Like I said, the shot creation ISO game may not be there, but I think there's like flashes that it could be. He shot 30% from 3, which is the other big thing, but I would bet on him improving and being a better shooter. Like I like his mechanics. I like his footwork. There's nothing glaringly wrong with it. It's not a quick
awesome.
Release. It's kind
of
of
awesome,
slow.
But not a disaster.
No, like I am very like I have him 6th on my board totally. Like I like his upside a lot. The defense is going to play. The passing, the ball handling is going to play. I think I would bet on the shot creation and the shooting coming along.
So you're in on one of those 2 players for New Orleans? Some high upside guys? Okay.
If both those guys could go sooner, I think too. Probably not super likely, but wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if either of those guys went before Mathurin. Yeah, don't hate it for Portland either. Because he could play 3 also. Like
and the defense that you meant, I mean, it's something they're looking for.
Yeah, I think it's useful to have like the comps on these guys. Like for Daniels, I have Josh Giddey, Lonzo Ball, Derek White, Evan Turner.
I like the Lonzo Ball one. That's
Lonzo Ball, I think, is like a decent comp for him.
We were very critical going into last season of the San Antonio roster, and they pick at 9th here. I think their development of a few players have changed things a bit for us. I think we both really like DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson.
Also,
pretty well.
Josh Primo was pretty good last year.
Josh Primo contributed.
We got to eat some crow.
Vassell
turned out to be a pretty good pick.
So we were very hard on them. I think they've come along. I'm not sure what they're targeting here. They still have what's the center's name? He's still there. I can't think of his name. Jakob. He's still there. So I'm not really sure what they're looking for. They kind of have a few projects at the 2 and 3 that you mentioned Primo. They obviously have their point guard. So what do you have them picking or looking for here at 9?
I think Dyson Daniels would have been an awesome fit on the Spurs. He would have been a great piece. Him and DeJounte Murray handling some ball handling, and like I think Pop would absolutely fucking love having Dyson Daniels on his team. But as a result, I don't know. They're in kind of another weird spot here.
So in this case, Shaden Sharp's available. Would they be in play for him, or would they look?
No, I said Shaden Sharp to New Orleans. And then
okay, so
wait, no. Wait.
Did you go with Dyson Daniels or Shaden Sharp for New Orleans?
Oh, no. Dyson Daniels is available. So I'm going to say Dyson Daniels to the Spurs here. Yeah, we just talked about him so much that I assumed he got taken. I'm going to put Dyson Daniels on the Spurs for all the reasons that I just said. A picture-perfect Spurs guy, picture-perfect Pop guy, winning player.
Makes sense. At 10, Washington last year. It seems like Beal's pretty cool with just getting paid a bunch of money, and he's just going to stay in Washington. I think he's just down with that. They made the trade Russ for a bunch of pieces last year that Kuzma impressed fairly well. Thought he played well. They no longer have the guy that you hate, the headband energy guy. He didn't.
Montrezl Harrell?
He was in that trade, right?
Yeah. He is a Hornet now, I think.
They traded Dinwiddie for Porzingis. I think wing or point guard would be. I'm not sure where they're looking. What do you think for Washington?
Yeah, I would agree. I think wing or guard. Weird kind of non sequitur, but regarding the Wizards, I saw. I mean, this was probably because he was at the finals, but Kyle Kuzma was tweeting like, "Man, Boston is such a beautiful city," and he tweeted like an emoji with it. I don't know if that means anything. I think he would be an awesome fit on the Celtics, and it's kind of what they need.
Sure,
but
sure.
I don't remember if he's up for a deal or anything like that. Okay, so at number 10 here, if they're trying to win, which if they have Brad Beal, that is what they're doing and what they should be doing. If it were me, so what do you think they need? Do they need defense? Do they need shooting? Do they need...
I mean, Beal's not a good defender. I don't know who they're going to be playing. I think Porzingis is going to play the 5, I guess. And then I think, in theory, a point guard would help. I don't know if that's like Malachi Branham. I don't know what does he. I don't know if his defensive ability is.
It's bad, but his offensive ability is fucking sick.
Yeah, he's kind of Bradley Bealish.
Yeah,
I don't really know. This could go. I don't know. Do they put Porzingis at the 4 somehow? Because I think AJ Griffin and Malachi Branham are
they're in play here.
Players. They're very similar players, but they're very Bradley Beal-like.
AJ Griffin was one of the guys that I was most disappointed with when I watched this film.
I've always been down on him.
The one thing that keeps him high on this list is I legitimately think he's the best shooter in the entire class.
I think that's certain. I think he's an incredible shooter.
Knockdown gets shooting the ball. And the other thing that makes me struggle to evaluate him is that he's coming off a knee basically this entire year. So I don't know how much burst or explosiveness he'll get back, but he did not have it this year. He doesn't have any quickness. Of anyone in the lottery, the worst defender, as bad as any defensive tape of any of these guys, brutally bad.
Yeah, I've been out on him for a while. He is an incredible shooter, but he just doesn't have that second thing.
Yeah.
That's even projectable. That's even
the thing is, before he got hurt in high school, watching his high school tape, he was a good athlete and kind of created separation and did some shot creation stuff. And some people are have him in the top 5 because they're projecting that he'll get back closer to that as opposed to what we saw. I don't know. I have him 12th on my board, or no, I have him 11th on my board, which is everyone either has him 12th or 5th. No one has him anywhere in between, I feel like.
Personally, yeah, I'm not interested personally. He's an incredible shooter. I just don't think, going to the NBA is, you better get a lot more of that athleticism back. We're not taking a step down.
The shooting's going to play here, regardless.
100%. 100%. But it's not like he can 3 and D. He's like a 0 on.
He's like Duncan Robinson, I guess, which is good, but
which is I just don't. He just doesn't have the other thing that we can point to that we can work on. I mean, he just seems.
So at 10 here, if they're trying to win and they want a guy that's going to contribute now, I think Johnny Davis from Wisconsin is a good pick.
I agree.
You need defense on this team. You need a guy who is a winning player. He most certainly is. He's 15th on my board, so this is a little high for him. For me, I think.
I would agree just in general, but I do
think the fit is good. The fit is good. The other thing that makes all this very weird, and whenever I'm breaking this down, there's not many tanking bad teams. Like we're at 10, and these teams are like contending for the playoffs. Part of that is the play-in game. Teams are not. It's good. The teams are not incentivized to lose. So
we need expansion. Too many good players. Too many good teams. We need expansion.
Yeah, and we're gonna get it.
That's Sohan's off the board, right? He he went to I don't hate him as a fit there either. What's up with these foreign fellas? Usman Jang. There's another guy there's another, I can't remember his name.
So Usman Jang is like by far, in terms of like what people think, like the number one foreign prospect in this class.
Jovic was the other guy.
Nikola Jovic. We'll get to him. He's not in play this high.
He's kind of fallen. He had a lot of hype earlier, but I think he's fallen down a little bit.
So Jang is kind of a weird one. He has all the foreign guy stuff that you're like, I don't get it. What's wrong? Like, what are we missing? He's like 6'11", 6'10", handles the ball, like good enough athlete, like seems to have a good feel as a player. And like the second half of his season last year, shot the shit out of the ball, like couldn't miss, but at every other point in his career did not shoot the ball that way. But
concerning.
He's 18 years old. So
True.
What do we want to do? There is a lot of differing opinions on him. People are top 10 on him. People are outside the lottery on him. I do not foresee him as a guy that Tibbs would love. He's kind of soft. He's a little like he's 6'11", plays like he's 6'6" sometimes.
Okay.
But the size and the skill is very, very, very enticing.
I know we just took him, but Johnny Davis seems like a Tibbs guy. AJ Griffin does not. Malachi Branham does not. I kind of like Jalen Duren for them. I don't know how long the big man's that Mitchell Robinson will be around. Even if he is, I think they're going to lose Randall. I think a big man with some presence, block shots, some upside to do some other things, but I don't know if it'll ever be above average. But I don't hate Jalen Duren at 11 if they stick there. There's rumors they could trade up.
I have Duren 10th on my board. I really like Duren. I think people are underrating his upside, like to do stuff offensively. I think people are just assuming he'll be DeAndre Jordan. Like, I think he has a decent shooting touch.
I think it's higher than that, but I think it is limited. I don't know if it's that.
The other thing to consider that should have been a high school senior this year and
did reclassify,
dominating college basketball. It was like 3 blocks a game, like 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah, is he even 19 yet?
No, he's still 18, I believe, once the draft gets here. So I like Duren to the Knicks. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I agree. I think if they stick at 11, I think that's a slam dunk, which he'll be doing a lot of. It's a pretty sick pun I just made.
In theory, he's going to do it.
Okay. Thunder have the second pick.
Oklahoma City Thunder. So they picked in this version they picked Jabari Smith with their number 2 pick. Okay, so they're probably not going to take a wing here. So right now their team they have Giddey, SGA, Jabari, and then Lou Dort. It doesn't matter who the other players are.
I think there's 2 players we've been circling, and I think that they're pretty good fits based on current construction.
AJ Griffin? Is that who you're thinking of? Yeah, they need 3-point shooting.
Or Branham, but yeah.
So Branham, good shooter, a little unproven, not with the ball in his hands. I think on this team, He's not going to get a lot of opportunity to have the ball in his hands. They have two guys that are going to have the ball in their hands a lot.
Yeah, I think Griffin is a slam
AJ
dunk.
Griffin is a good pick here. Let me. Are you keeping track of this at all or not?
I can. I know what we've picked. I can write them down real quick. If you tell
Okay.
me who Charlotte's taking at 13.
Write it down real quick. I'll filibuster here. The 13th pick, the Charlotte Hornets. They have not selected. They just fired their coach. They, I believe, have just 2 first-round picks. I thought they had 3. Just 2 first-round picks, but 2 picks within. They have 13 and 15, so 2 picks in very quick succession. Oh man, what do they need? So
Yeah, what do they need?
They had 2 first-round picks last year, and neither of them played significant NBA minutes at all. I don't know if that's because they did have a kind of a jam-packed roster of a lot of guys, and they just want to take both those guys they picked were kind of developmental coming into the draft. I think we both thought Book Knight was gonna not play 0 minutes.
I was out on him. I was out on him. I didn't think he played no minutes, but I didn't like the pick.
Yeah. Kai Jones, I really liked, but was fully aware that he was a developmental pick and very raw. And
I forgot he was even a player.
Yeah. I mean, he played in the G League pretty much all year last year. We knew he was going to be a developmental guy. So they probably need some interior defense, I guess, would make sense. What do you need with LaMelo? The other thing is, I don't know, are they going to pay Miles Bridges or not? Makes a huge difference with who they pick here.
I think Duren would be a good pairing with but he's not available. Go ahead. You were going to say if he's not, if they don't pay him.
If Miles Bridges wants a max, I would not give Miles Bridges a max. His numbers would suggest that that's what he's in the range for. Oh man. And these other 2 picks that they made last year, what are we doing with those picks? This is tough. This is really tough. So what's their lineup right now? They have Ball, they have Rozier, they have Hayward, they have Bridges, they have PJ Washington, they don't have Plumlee anymore, right? He's somewhere else. Or is he with them now? I don't fucking remember.
You know who's the guy? I don't know if he fits here. I don't think he does. You know who's the guy I really like? And I told you this, this winter as the Final Four was ending. I really like what Mark Williams showed. I really love his.
Yeah, I think that's a decent shout here.
I think I really like his rim protection. One of the better players in college basketball protecting the rim. I really, really liked a couple flashes I saw offensively. He didn't really get to showcase it much, but I saw, even if it's a couple escape drills and hit a jump shot that I didn't expect him to, I really did see some flashes.
Okay touch.
Solid touch.
7'2" was the tallest player at the combine. Taller than I thought he would be.
So if they don't pay Bridges and then PJ Washington plays the 4 and he could play. I really like his rim protection. I think lobs with LaMelo are enticing.
So
I think I like that at 13.
They have 2 picks here. They could probably get him at 15th, I guess, because Cleveland's certainly not going to take.
Oh, I didn't realize Williams. That. Sure.
So we'll save Williams for 15th. 13th.
That makes sense.
We'll go in a higher upside play here. Oh God!
Would you go Zhang? You go international?
You could. I think we go. I'm going to do it. This is a guy that I'm very high on, who is an NBA draft boards folks' darling down the stretch here.
Okay.
Jalen Williams from Santa Clara.
Ooh, okay.
I've heard high on this guy. I
don't know a ton about his game, but
has
I've heard some people hyping him up.
Shot up boards. He's 6'7" wing / guard from Santa Clara. He has a 7'1" wingspan. Had the longest wingspan of any non-center at the combine. One of the best passers in the draft. A really creative, high level passer. Throws like a lot of crazy behind the backs and really fun stuff. Plays with a ton of swagger. Pretty solid athlete. Also tested really well in the vertical at the draft. Like the thing is, like, he's just a late bloomer, so people kind of worry about that. But he just came into his own at 21 or so. Like really nice handle for being 6'6", 6'7". And I love a guy that just plays with like excellent pace and doesn't get rushed and can, figure how to snake in those little tiny in between areas on the court when he's got the ball in his hands. He's not like a straight line player. Like has a good handle, broke a lot of ankles too for his size. Is a crafty finisher. Put a lot of people on posters.
On paper, it sounds like on tape, it sounds like he's incredible. So he's just old? He's a late bloomer? He's just older?
He's older. He's not like elite athletically. Doesn't have an elite like first step, elite burst, but I would say it's still pretty good. It's still okay. Wasn't a great defender by the numbers, really, but plays hard, and obviously 6'6" and has a 7-foot wingspan and is a smart player. So I would bet that he will be a pretty good defender. In the games they played like Gonzaga, and like obviously finishing at the rim on Chet is like nobody does that, but against length and size, he kind of struggled to finish. So his scoring numbers probably won't be what they were at Santa Clara, but I think as like a really fun 6-man, like guy that will be able to be a triple-double threat in the NBA, I really like him. I'm very, very high on him.
Okay, let's do it. Let's take him at 13th.
Take some of the ball handling off of LaMelo. Best player available. That's kind of my thought there.
We moved to the Cavaliers. They have flipped the NBA on its head. They have all bigs, the all big lineup.
Big ball, baby.
You're right. They're not probably in play for Mark Williams. That would be adding to quite the luxury.
Laurie at the 2?
Yeah, people are clamoring for it. So here, I think Colin Sexton is gone. I don't know where it ends up happening or when it ends up happening, but I think he's going to be gone. I think a player to pair with Garland in the backcourt makes the most sense. Branham is staring us in the face here. Tari Eason,
I think Branham.
I kind of like.
I like Easton too, but I think Branham is a slam dunk pick here.
Yeah,
if Sexton is out, I think Branham is a better, bigger version of what Sexton is. Him offensively, like incredibly, incredibly impressive to me.
We saw it firsthand. One of his best games was against Illinois. He just murdered them. Just couldn't be stopped.
Absolute bucket getter in every sense of the word. Like mid-range, 3-point, get to the bucket. Pretty solid athlete. We'll put it on your head. Like has the bag of tricks in the mid-range, has the turnarounds, uses his body really well. Like elite scorer. Defense is really bad. I think his size, if he wants to play defense and we can teach him, he can be passable. I don't see much more than passable.
Yeah. And on that roster, you're looking at guys that can make up for
being able to funnel him into Williams and Mobley will make up for your sins as a defender.
If you can just be more of a smarter defender rather than actually locking up. I mean, just play positionally, funnel to shot blockers. I think he can be fine.
That team needed more scoring. He's the best scorer available.
Yeah, I think that's slam dunk, and I think Mark Williams makes a lot of sense next.
Yep.
As we already talked about, we really like him there. So we have 15 players off the board. Is that the lottery correct? Atlanta made the play.
Yeah.
I guess technically.
No, I think technically that Charlotte pick Mark Williams was, I think 14 is the lottery. So
Cleveland at 14. Okay, so we have 15 picks off the board. We have half of the first round.
We won't. That'll take forever. We're not going to do 30 fucking picks. So
no. That I want to do the lottery and whatever. The first half of the first round is fine. I do have them all written down here. Are there any other players you want to talk about that you like their upside, you like their fit anywhere specifically, or players whose skill set you just like? Could be in the second round, could be later in the first. Who do you like more than
Let's
most
see.
people?
Two guys that I'm really high on that I think I'm a little higher on than, well, maybe not that much. Blake Wesley from Notre Dame, I really like. Big guard, 6'4", 6'5". Again, really, really good scorer. Plays really hard on defense. The big question is his jump shot. It's a little funky sometimes. I would bet that it'll be okay. Maybe it won't be, but I really like Blake Wesley as like a big scoring guard.
You know what I think of when I think of Blake Wesley? I think of discount Jaden Ivey. I think of not as good Jaden Ivey in a way.
I would say definitely a much more skilled player, and obviously not the athlete. He's a very skilled scorer, I would say. Not an elite shooter, if that makes sense. Like, has all the moves to get the shot open, but then actually making the shot, it's a little streaky, a little weird. My comps for him were like Jamal Crawford, Bones Highland, Tyler Hero, like just instant offense, score, handle, that type of guy.
Who else are you high on?
Guy that the whole time watching him this year, did not understand why he wasn't a slam dunk top 20 pick was EJ Liddell at Ohio State.
We're seeing him be successful in the form of Grant Williams, in the form of like these players are like what the NBA is going to.
His shot blocking at his size is unbelievable how good it is. He averages
he's not
almost
tall.
3 blocks a game at like 6'6". And like, I said, a lot of these guys have high motors and play hard. That dude is a fucking psycho. Fucking dog.
I watched him play in person in high school, and he's from, I guess technically he's from he's from Belleville. He's from Illinois. I wanted him to go to Illinois so bad. He ended up going to Ohio State. It was a real tough watch having him playing on Ohio State.
Small ball five.
Perfect.
And the thing, what did he need to do? He needed to improve his three-point shooting. He improved his three-point shooting by like 6-7% this year. I still don't think that's going to be a strength of his game for a while. His shot is still a little hitchy and bad, and it's very like,
he has like a pause at the top.
Like when he shoots, some guys shoot and it seems like the ball is heavy. Like he has like a heavy ball.
He like stalls. He like stalls at the top of it. So weird.
And as a result, sometimes the shot is really, really flat. So it'll be a spot up shooter, nothing more.
But improvable. I think the general mechanics is fine. I think it's improvable.
Won't have to leave him. Like, respectable, will hit open shots. Grant Williams, like you're fucking saying.
Yes.
And
a Jovic, dog, like a perfect.
Like competitor, winner, one Big Ten player of the year. Like, that shit translates. Jovic, you talked about, really tantalizing as a scorer, and he's legitimately like 6'10", 6'11". Shot it well. The defense is really, really bad. Some of the competition he's playing against is pretty bad. Questionable. Has like Danilo Gallinari upside, I would say. I think Gallinari is a decent comp for him. Another guy that people are talking about, Jake LaRavia, who's a wing for Wake Forest.
Wake, yeah.
Yeah, like a bigger white guy. Again, like all the winning plays, hits threes, plays defense, plays hard, always in the right spot. Sneaky athlete, probably sneaky because he's white.
Spark plug, gym rat. A couple guys that I want to bring up who one whose stock is just a total question mark. It's down for a good reason, but there's a reason he had so much pedigree. Patrick Baldwin Jr., I just don't know much about. He's incredibly injured, goes to play for his dad in Milwaukee. There's a reason he had such a high pedigree. He has good size, can handle it. We just haven't, he's been so injured. We haven't seen really anything. I don't know if he goes in the first round or not, but I don't know what he is or can be. But in theory, it's something.
He's 6'9", handles the ball very, very well for that size, has very, very fluid shooting mechanics, but shot it very, very poorly this year, which is confusing.
It was in a limited sample, right? He was bad. Like the beginning of the year, he was not very good.
Yeah, I mean, he played pretty much most of the season though this year, and it was.
I was under the impression that he was injured.
I think he was hurt at times, but played pretty close to a full season this year, and was bad pretty much the whole way through. The other thing is, I mean, he was double teamed the entire season because he played at Milwaukee and he played with piss poor fucking teammates.
Yeah,
like it has like all the smooth touch stuff like at his size, but he's like it's weird because he has all the stuff, but then the shots never go in the basket. It's like it looks good, the shot's good, none of them ever go in the hoop, which seems like a problem.
Concerning.
If that switches, like that's good, I guess. He's also like a dog shit athlete. Tested horribly.
Oh yeah, it was like bizarre.
Let's see. I just had it pulled up. Had the worst vertical by like a mile.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about him too much. He's just
really slow.
I'm just interested. I just don't know what he is or could be. I know he was not very good, but had a lot of pedigree coming into college.
Second best prospect in his conference. I really like Ryan Rollins from Toledo. I'll just say that.
Okay.
Really good scorer.
A guy I'm very intrigued by, undersized guy who has a lot of speed, a lot of offensive ability, led a very good team. I'm interested in Kennedy Chandler. He's very small, which I don't love, but I really, really love his offensive ability. I don't know what kind of a defender he can be at that size. He's very small, but I'm intrigued if you can get him in the second round. He's a winner. He's a good player. Interested in Kennedy Chandler. What the tape say if you watched any on him?
He's small. He's 5'11" without his shoes. He's a little guy, but
dynamic though.
Winner.
Yeah.
His best case scenario is like could be Tyus Jones. I think is a good comp for him in the league.
Sure, I like that. Yeah.
Good bench, like a point guard's a point guard in every sense, but it's pretty much just the size, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be like a starter. Like he's too small to like play 34 minutes. And I just don't think he's that guy. But good energy, good burst off the bench, backup point guard, I think is fair.
Like there's a lot of debate, like him or Ty Washington. Like Ty Washington, 6'4", was hurt.
You said he's fat though.
Like, he had a high body fat percentage. I don't know if that means anything. We were looking at that before we started. I don't know. I prefer Ty. He's bigger. I like his upside as a scorer. I think almost every player gets a bump in the NBA for whatever reason when they leave Kentucky. It seems like it's just like a guarantee at this point. But yeah, I like Chandler.
Last guy I'll bring up on your thoughts on is Walker Kessler. He does have an elite skill, but not sure if other things translate to the NBA. He's going to be pretty slow-footed. I don't know if he'll fit, but he is an incredible shot blocker.
I think he is kind of getting the short end of the stick because this is a class with a lot of really good shot blockers. You have Duren, you have Mark Williams, you have Chet, you even have like Liddell. You even have like a lot of people prefer Christian Coloco from Arizona over him. I prefer Kessler. I think Kessler at least has some upside shooting the ball. He shot it with confidence at a very low percentage this year, which is, what does that mean? I don't know.
Shoot, baby.
It's not the prettiest shot. It's not the worst shot for a 7'2" guy, I guess. I thought I would be more impressed. I mean, he averaged 4.5 blocks a game this year, had the NCAA record for block percentage, I think, which is like percentage of shots defended that he blocked, like the highest ever in the history of college basketball. I don't hate him. I think he's probably a late first, second round type of talent. Quickly, Travion Williams might not get drafted, but I really like him. I like his game. Good passer, good player. David Roddy, big, fat, sneaky athletic guy. I like him from Colorado State. Here's a foreign guy that'll go in the second round. Gabriel Procida from Italy.
Okay.
May not play a single game in the NBA, but I flipped on his highlights for a second, and this like gangly 6'7" white guy was just putting people in the fucking rim. So that was kind of cool. Pretty good shooter. Gives me some scary Mario Hezonja vibes. I remember when I watched Mario Hezonja's tape, I was like, this dude's banging threes, fucking banging on people's heads.
To be fair to him, he's not going to go like 5th.
Yeah, that's true. Who else do I have here?
Ooh, you know who is my Herb Jones of this year? You want any guesses?
Your Herb Jones of this year.
I mean, Sohan is, or no, who was the guy that I talked about in the first round? Yeah, Sohan.
Sohan.
But in the second round.
In the second round, I don't know. Who is it?
Justin Lewis from Marquette.
Okay, yeah. He's getting some buzz here later on in the process.
He's 6'6", 6'7". I watched a lot of Marquette, and they relied on him to score a pretty good amount. I don't know if he was that great at it. He did shoot it a lot. But I think big body, strong player, switchable. I think he is going to be a winning player type of guy, a guy you'd want on the team. But I don't think offensively he's going to offer much.
Sure. Yeah. Could be a good spot up shooter. Pretty decent
Herb
athlete.
Jones of
he's
draft for me.
Yeah. Herb, like, still don't understand why Herb Jones wasn't a first round pick. Like, he was defensive player of the year, SEC player of the year, like just guarded all 5 positions. Or just like, I don't know, whatever. Didn't get it. Here's a guy real quick that is going to go probably really high, and you're going to say, who the fuck was that? Dalen Terry from Arizona, who in like the last week is just like screaming up all these draft boards. So
I watched a decent amount of hoop, but I don't know who that is.
He plays for Arizona. He's like 6'7". People are trying to say he's a point guard, and he's a really good passer. He's got really long arms, and he's really athletic. Again, I'm with you. I watched Arizona a lot, and he did not stand out to me. I watched his tape. Like, I get it. He's a good passer, good athlete, good defender, plays hard. Don't see him as a great shooter. If he becomes a great shooter, he'll be a solid player, but just be ready. He might go in the lottery.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'm in. Okay. Any other names that you might be a little lower on? Ooh, haven't talked about him. Weird player. I don't think I love him. I just don't know what his elite skill is. I don't know what he's going to be in the NBA. Ochai Agbaji, a senior from Kansas. Thoughts?
I'm also low on him. Or lower,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Lower than everyone else. I would take him in the first round. I think shooting is going to play. He's going to be a good shooter. He's 22. Has not really. He's improved a lot because his freshman sophomore year, like, couldn't even get on the court. But he's still not a good defender as a senior. Literally, the guy can't fucking dribble the ball. Like, 0 shot creation. Like, down the stretch in these runs for Kansas, like, he was not the guy that
he was bad. He was he wasn't.
Turnover machine, like, kind of wilts. Like, Christian Brown was.
I think there's an argument. I think there's an argument to take him over Agbaji.
Agbaji's a much better shooter. Brown is still like a streaky shooter. I don't like Agbaji.
I don't
like him either.
I don't either. I think it's a nice.
I see him mocked in the lottery. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
The shooting's going to play. He's 22 and he's still like not figuring it out as a defender.
Yeah, he's like not a polished senior.
I'm out.
That's not good.
I'm out. AJ Griffin, I said I was a little lower on, but some people have him about where I had him, so I guess maybe I'm not. Jaden Hardy from the G League, out.
Yeah,
out.
Just not.
Some people really like him, like good scorer, really good feel as a scorer, but like just could not be more of a I will never play defense. You cannot make me. You're not my real dad. I refuse. I will not do it. Seems like a bit of a stubborn bull, like just I'm going to try and shoot this ball every single time I touch it. I will never play defense.
In a Grant Williams-esque second round type pick, Jalen Williams from Arkansas.
Yep.
Had some flashes that He's kind of an undersized, play like the 4 type of guy. Do a little bit of everything, play hard, winning type plays. Don't hate him in the second round.
Decent shooter too, which is kind of surprising.
Decent shooter. Development there with the shot. I think we covered a lot of players. Anyone else you want to talk about?
We certainly did. Here's a guy. This is the guy I was telling you about before, who I don't know what to do with. John Butler from Florida State.
I don't know who that is.
Guy?
Nope.
I think if you watched a Florida State game, he was like the 6'11" guy that was like playing point guard that weighs like 150 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I remember. So we talked about him. Yeah, I didn't know that was his name. Okay.
6'11", 175 pounds. Listed as a power forward, like played guard, but he could shoot and like defend, but I mean, probably just not going to work. He also tested bad athletically at the combine, which I don't love. And it's just like, I don't know that you're great at doing anything. I don't really know what we do with you, but a 6'11" guy, like he looks like not a real person whenever you watch him play. Like he's one of those guys when you flip on the TV, you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that guy?
Yeah,
what is that? What is that? What's going on there? So that's my other guy.
Okay. Predictably, we've talked about the NBA draft for a very long time. We're going to have to put this out in segments, which is fine. Do we want to continue on and talk about hustle right now, or what do you want?
Yeah, we'll put this all out at one podcast. We'll put time codes in. If you want to skip ahead, you can. We'll cut this out and put it separately on the YouTube too, I guess. And if you want to talk, you want to. Do you want me to
put a little? I don't know what to call it at the beginning of this. Be like, hey, this is long. I get it. Skip ahead if you want to talk about, I don't know.
We can. Yeah.
Okay. Close this out.
Hustle. 2022. Hustle. An Adam Sandler banger. What did you think of this film?
An Adam Sandler joint. I kind of loved it. I kind of liked it.
I kind of did too. I kind of loved it as well. I mean, we're getting more of these. There seems to be a bit of a resurgence with, the 80s, 90s style sports movie. It's shut your brain off. It's wholehearted. It's simple. The sports look good. There's an obstacle and there's an achievement. We've got multiple workout montages
that are good.
We got some funny quips along the line.
I thought it was really funny. I thought Sandler and
Juancho
Bo Cruz. I thought they had good banter. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
I think as we talked about with Tin Cup, a lot of these movies where they fall short is the sports look bad. The good thing is all the guys doing the sports are professional players of sport, and it looks awesome.
So many NBA players in this fucking movie.
Incredible.
So many. As a guy that is like a crazy basketball fan, like if you're like really into it, you recognized almost every person in this fucking movie. Like even the trainers are all real basketball trainers. There were guys from the And One mixtape tour that were playing him.
That was sick.
The fucking professor,
like helping him train and stuff. Yeah, that was cool.
Bone Collector competed in the Boa Challenge.
That was one of my favorite parts.
Owens.
That was one of my favorite parts. That and the training they incorporated kind of like the street ball and one guy. That was so good.
The professor. Are you kidding me?
It was
Emeka
incredible.
Okafor's in this movie for a second at the very beginning. Just guys I wasn't anticipating seeing. They got Dr. J in this fucking movie.
I got a question. Who was the initial guy where Sandler finds him and he's playing one-on-one with this little smaller guard? Is that anyone?
The little smaller guard.
That he plays for money, like the first time when he plays in the boots.
Oh, I don't think it was. Not anyone that I knew, if it was.
Okay, same. I didn't know if I missed something there.
Maybe. Well, the other thing is it could have been a foreign guy because, like, whenever he goes to play in Spain, all those guys are real guys that play on the Spanish national teams. Jose Calderon.
That was so cool. Great touch. It was a great touch.
It was his brother, Willie Hernan Gomez.
Yep.
Alex Abrinas, if you remember, had a cup of coffee in the league. I I could just talk about these cameos. That could be the entire discussion here. Boban, guy's a showstopper. Just steals the show whenever he's in it.
Incredible.
The comedic timing on this guy. He's got an Andre the Giant
do we want to
post career in him? I think.
Is there anything like story wise you want to talk about, like Brady? Anything, or you just want to ignore pretty much everything and just like talk about fun stuff?
Like, I think it was really well done. Like, it's 2 hours. It felt like it flew by.
I agree. I didn't realize it was that long.
Didn't feel like there was any wasted time, really. I was invested. It got to the point, did not belabor the point. But at the same time, it left a lot of space for the guys to do some actual acting and have some emotional stakes. Like, Sandler's great in this movie. I think some of the dialogue is a little kind of sometimes. If I had to make a note, there's a little dialogue. But, I mean, he's such a good goddamn actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
The career flip that he's had since Uncut Gems, and he was always a good actor because, like, go back to Punch Drunk Love, whatever. He was always a good actor. Yeah. He just had a very long stretch of choosing not to do that.
Why did he do that? Just to get in a bunch of money? Why do you make all those really bad, like dumb?
I think he just likes to go on trips with his friends to Hawaii.
Not even like grown-ups, because like there's a part of that where like, oh, that's a mindless kind of ha-ha watch, but just like
Jack and Jill,
and like
I don't know.
Sandy Wexler and like
I don't know.
Although maybe I think some people might have liked that. I don't know.
But I think there is a bit of something too that he had so many bad ones that people assumed everyone that was coming out was bad without seeing him. Not to say some of them aren't really bad, but they probably weren't as bad as we thought they were.
Yeah. I thought he was great. Sandler was awesome. What do you think of Wancho? I think
they wrote it perfectly for him. They wrote him as a quiet sort of, like
true. It doesn't work.
Not outgoing type. They didn't ask him to do too much, but I mean, I was cool with it because like he plays like the strong silent type, and it works. Like his character works. He doesn't have to do too much, but he has the little emotional hits here and there that he needs. I mean, he cries in a scene. I was impressed with that. Like, he's legitimately tears coming down his face.
Where did this come from? Do you know of any history of him being like into this type of stuff?
No idea.
Any past?
Should have looked some of that up.
You know what kind of?
I mean, the thing is, like, this is like just the Giannis story. Basically, it's like what we're doing here. It seems like kind of to an extent. I mean, not word for word, but like it's very similar.
You know what kind of gets to me? You know what kind of fucks me up is that with the following that we do of the NBA and the knowledge of the NBA that we have, we know that Juancho Hernangomez is not an elite. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know.
Like you watch the highlights, you're like, look at this guy. You're like, I don't know. Looks pretty bang fucking average. You're like, this guy's Scottie Pippen. No, he's not.
I know how he plays, and he's not.
And like, but even the stuff they're showing you, it's like, it doesn't look like what you're saying it looks like.
And they did a good job of it getting better. You know, like he was kind of clunky-ish, and he does kind of sharpen it up as they're like training the montage and stuff.
The argument that he is this supreme athlete is what they should have kept him to. Like, he's a good passer. He's a good shooter.
Below the rim. Yeah, like passer,
if he's
shooter.
Not an elite athlete, we shouldn't be saying that that's what he is.
And I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Like it wasn't like, wow, this is like a disaster.
It's like me being someone that watches too much basketball saying that, like an absolute nitpick. Most people were like, yeah, he's dunking it and shooting it and like doing all the basketball stuff. Pretty good.
We might have buried the lead here. Anthony Edwards.
A fucking revelation in this goddamn movie. The first line when he fucking leans down to him and talks shit, he's like, oh my God. Like,
Anthony Edwards is a superstar. Like, we know this prior to this movie. Like, he is in the media, is hilarious. All of it is an awesome player, obviously. He's incredible and just a great villain, just an awesome fucking arrogant asshole. He's so good.
Such an asshole. I hated him so much.
I hated him.
One thing that I watched this with my girlfriend, and I think like that stuff at the end. Would any player actually say that shit to another player? You think if you didn't know
about his kid? About his kid?
like fucking his
No.
mom and shit. Probably not,
No.
right? That's probably a little far. Like the other stuff, like buddying up to him and be like, "Hey, good luck, buddy." Oh, Olay, bitch. Fuck, that's
So good. Yeah, I think the stuff with the kid, I mean, that's like like push him over the edge and he pushes him. Like there's really, what else do you go to get him to that spot? I guess they really only had one choice there. But yeah, I think no one really says that, especially to like in a combine scrimmage with people you don't know, like other draftees. Seems like a weird move. What did Michaela think of it? She watched it with you?
She liked it. I mean, again, like none of the basketball stuff was too much. Like it was very balanced. Like as a guy that watches basketball, all of it was really well done, and I get it, but I don't think you had to really understand any of that to get a feel for what was happening at any point in time.
No. Yeah, it's really, really good. I like it a lot.
Ben Foster as like the shithead owner GM who fires him or he quits. Too. He did a good job. Too. I've never seen him bald. Not a good look on Ben, I don't think. Looks better with hair.
Yeah, I didn't really consider that, but yeah, he didn't look good. I thought nitpick him, like the decisions that his character just make no sense. Like him being the owner, and him just being like ignoring the people, or like I guess people like owners do that a lot. I don't know.
You're saying
like, why wouldn't
the
he
villain character?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like he's just an asshole to Sandler, and like I don't know. I get it needs to happen for the movie. I just like he's your lead scout, and you're like, just listen to him. I don't know.
Yeah,
he just doesn't want to take him. He just won't. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it has to happen, and he did a good job being an asshole. I didn't like him.
I mean, Anthony Edwards, I can't get over how good he was. Like, it's a meme that he says this. Maybe he just is good at literally everything. He's not bad at anything he's ever done. It's perfect. He was so good.
And the perfect player to just style and with like dunks and all the wild shit that they had him doing just looked incredible.
Boy.
We didn't talk Mo Wagner, the other prospect.
He's been on like a lot of podcasts. I was expecting him to be in this movie more. He was not in it for very long, and he spoke German the whole time.
No, yeah, he was not that. He was just like another prospect that
he was a bust.
Yeah,
they fucked up. Here's one of my biggest gripes of the whole movie.
Okay,
they didn't have a scene of him getting drafted. I needed that. Or is the assumption that he didn't get drafted?
Oh no, he got drafted. He just shows up on the Celtics. We don't know where he got drafted. We don't know.
But there could be the assumption that he got signed and didn't get drafted. But like, that seems like that was just screaming for a scene of him getting drafted. Like, I think they thought maybe there was like a little, build the drama. It goes to black. You don't know what happens, and then it cuts to him on the Celtics.
You think? Yeah, it's kind of left. You think he might play for the Philly, and then he's on the other team. He's kind of a
they didn't telegraph it at all, with Brad Stevens having his one great line reading of, "Who is this guy? We really need to get him up to Boston."
We're going to talk. Who are your other favorites? Boban and Anthony Edwards were awesome.
Brad Stevens was bad, but it was very funny to me. It was so...
I also want to do our worst, because I have my worst by a fucking mile.
It's not Brad Stevens?
No, he's second worst.
Is it someone that has like a similar length role, or someone with a bigger role that you didn't like?
Similar length role.
Ooh.
One of the best players in the NBA.
One of the best players in the NBA.
When they're doing the BOA challenge and he's locking all these people up.
Oh, Luka? Yeah.
Well, Luka had the worst reading of his line of all time. It's the most unnatural, terrible. I'm reading this off a prompter. It's so bad.
Yeah. And I mean, it came and went. So like that
it was over time. It was They
And there
weaved
was
it
a bunch of
into a bunch
noise
of
going
stuff.
on. It's
Yeah,
pretty easy to miss. Like I didn't clock that really. I was just like, this is all kind of cringy. And then, well, I mean, you could also put like Iverson did the exact same thing, and it was also like,
true. It was bad.
you know,
too.
it's unrealistic. Allen Iverson posting a social media video regarding a viral trend of an unknown prospect. Probably not going to happen.
Dude, he loves growing the game. He loves the young bucks. I think that was a cool wrinkle. I think using like his daughter's ability to like videography, like her interest in that, and like getting her interested into basketball with building his hype. I thought that was really cool. Using Dr. J. I thought that was so awesome. It was like a guerrilla, like streets of
It was
Spain,
good.
like gritty type
Cool.
of stuff. I mean,
If I nitpicked, the issue would be like that would never work. That would never like that
get people excited.
Well, they looked it up and he like had the assault charge, and he basically couldn't get into the combine. And then he does this viral challenge, and based on this viral challenge, where he's playing against fucking pedestrians, and then he plays against Tobias Harris once. They're like, now I want him to be on my NBA team. I don't think that would happen.
Well, they wanted him at the combine, not on the NBA team yet.
Well, regardless, I don't think we could find a no-name prospect, make some viral videos of him, and he would get an invite to the combine. I think you need to.
Yeah,
play.
Probably not. But I like the idea.
But
that was a good idea.
Unimportant. Again, a nitpick.
Thought it was fun. I thought it was. It was good.
Oh, Kenny Smith, very good. Has a pretty big role. Does a good job as the agent.
He is arguably like after Queen Latifah and the two leads, and he's like the fourth or fifth biggest role in this movie.
Yeah, does a great job. I would expect nothing less. I
thought I thought he was a hair stiff, but overall good.
Yeah, and for me, it's just hard. It's like the whole time, like that's Kenny Smith.
Yeah,
when he's not playing Kenny Smith, it's just like that's Kenny Smith. Look at Kenny Smith.
Like I know Juancho is not like a number 2 pick in the draft. I just know he's not. Kenny. That's just
the other thing
Smith
is like I know nothing about his personality, which helps. Like I've never heard him speak, which helps. Like he could be Bo Cruz. I don't know. Kenny Smith, I've heard speak hundreds and hundreds of hours. Which
true. That's a good point. It's a good point.
A little. Dirk, funny cameo on the FaceTime.
Pretty cameo.
Good. Pretty decent.
I have a question. I thought it was cool when he got to be the assistant coach and he walks out with Doc Rivers and he's on the court. What are the logistics of filming that? They just like after a game they do that, or what's the deal there?
I mean, no, they probably just came in on an off day. Like they probably CGI'd in all the fans. Like that shot of him sitting on the bench probably wasn't during a real game.
Yeah, I didn't take in the
him walking out. I'm trying to think of like what exactly the.
I bet they filmed him walking out. I don't know.
Maybe could have been. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. I thought it looked okay. Like they might have. Yeah, it could have just been a. It's so like what they can do with.
It was a very tight shot. You didn't get a huge.
True, that's true. It was tight. It was tight.
I would bet the fans are CGI'd in if I had to guess.
I think you're right.
Would be cool if that wasn't the case, but
cool to do it practical. But now that I think about it, it was a lot of real punched in shots.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they walked out. I bet he came out of the tunnel with them and like milled around on the bench.
Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. I don't know either. I like this movie. I would watch it again.
I thought it was so enjoyable. I would 100%. I bet there'd be stuff I missed, like just cameo stuff.
Here's one. Robert Duvall, who plays the original owner, is he doing a good job of acting, or is he just so old he's actually about to die?
He looked dead. He looked dead alive.
Sounded dead.
He looked like he was stuffed.
Is it good acting, or is he? I mean,
good
Robert's
makeup.
Pretty old. Robert's pretty old.
He looked bad.
Yeah, I don't know which one that was.
On the doorstep of death was not out of the question for that character.
Understood the assignment.
My word.
Oh, how many times are they going to hint that we're going to hear about what happened to his hand? That showed his hand a million fucking times.
That was tough.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't the most psychologically challenging film by any means.
No, you didn't really have to dig in and sink.
I mean, they could have just held up a screen and be like, "Hey, his hand's fucked up. Do you see his hand? The hand. Something they're going to talk about his goddamn hand."
You want to know how I got these scars?
Ooh, here's the other big miss. The draft scene. He's on the Sixers. We don't get Joel Embiid in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
Would have
I thought that was,
loved an Embiid cameo.
and that's shocking that he's like Mr. Social Media. He's Mr. Stunning that he wasn't involved.
Maybe the check was the price was too high. I mean, who's the highest caliber star in this? Luka, right?
Luka makes a cameo. AI, Dr. J, but like current players, Trae Young. Trae Young's in the end.
Trae Young is in it. Chris Middleton is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else is kind of a role player, right?
There's Tobias Harris, Jordan Clarkson,
Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry, yep.
But then
Aaron Gordon doesn't
Aaron
talk.
Gordon. But yeah, everyone else is either retired.
I would do it for free. Like they're like Joel.
Yeah, it seems like it would just be fun. And like they're at their actual facility. Like you could just.
It would be like an hour and a half. Like you would.
Yeah.
It's stunning. He wasn't in.
Would have loved to see him in it. Would have added a nice element.
Yeah. Yeah. Really would have. Really would have.
Sad.
Hate to see it. Yeah, not too much else to say. Really enjoyable. What'd you think of Queen Latifah?
She's good. She's fine. Serviceable. Got the job done.
Yeah.
This whole movie is just like got the
pretty
job
good.
done. You just,
pretty fine.
You just did the job. A workman-like performance from this film.
Did you think the training montage was a little long?
Wasn't there more than one? Am I mistaken in that? Maybe it was that long that it felt like more than one.
I think it was that long. Like I was like,
a lot of drills.
You're gonna hurt this guy.
A lot of running up that hill.
Jesus Christ. We get it.
Minute 45. He nailed it. He got it.
Jeez. Yeah. Overall, really enjoyable though.
Wancho, when he shows legitimate emotion, he gets angry when he finds out that Sandler was lying to him. Pretty good.
He is okay. He's decent.
Pretty good.
I'm into it. Do you know what this is? What would you rate it? Do you know what people are saying about it?
I have no idea. I mean, as far as I can tell, everyone's kind of thinks the same thing. Like, I don't think anyone thinks this is like an Oscar movie, but everyone's like,
ooh.
I would bet the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is like really high.
Well, guess what the two scores are? Don't look.
Audience, I'm gonna guess is an 87. Critic, I will say, is a 69.
Audience score 93.
Yeah.
Critic score 92.
Wow, it's pretty good.
I like it a lot.
It's pretty good.
I feel like I'm vindicated. I feel like we're not in the wrong here. I think it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it an 82.
Sure, I think that's fair.
B minus movie. It's a B minus movie. You could watch way worse shit.
Yeah, really enjoyable. Like you said, a non-basketball fan you watched it with enjoyed it too. It's fun for the whole family.
I think
it
fits into the pantheon of like sports movies that are just just good sports movies.
Yeah. All right.
I won't lie. When I saw the trailer for this, I was like, what the fuck is this going to be? This is.
Yeah. I thought it had a chance to be bad, but wasn't.
It wasn't. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Oh, Shaq and Ernie were also in it for a line.
Yep. And Charles.
And Chuck, yep.
The whole crew.
Pretty good. All right. Is that it? Anything else?
Mark Cuban's in it too. Yeah. No, we're good.
Okay.